Welcome to the Be Empowered interview series with your host, Rashida Kamaria Williams.
Hello, hello. It's Rashida Kamaria Williams, Chief Empowering Officer for Empowered Flower Girl. And this is the Be Empowered interview series. And you know that we love to connect you with amazing change makers who are making a difference, not only domestically, but also globally. And I am super just thrilled to have our guest today. She is an amazing mom and humanitarian who I had the pleasure of meeting several months ago when we both were part of a celebration for Women's History Month. And I learned more about the work that she does. And that's why I decided to bring her on as a guest because it was very inspiring learning about the work that she does, and I wanted you all to meet her as well. So I would like to welcome Gina Gabel, who is the co-founder and president of Thrive, which is a nonprofit that is not only feeding children internationally, but also feeding and empowering youth here locally to help them get engaged in their communities and across the world. So thank you so much, Gina, for joining us.
Oh, thanks for inviting me.
Yeah, it is definitely great to see you again. As I mentioned, Gina and I spoke and were able to fellowship at a Women's History Month celebration. And that's where I met some of the young people that are involved in her organization. And it was definitely great to see these young women who were there at the event talking about their experience. And you could just see on their faces just the admiration that they had for the work that they do, but also for you, Gina. So I just wanted to learn more about how you um, came to start Thrive, and the inspiration behind it. I know that you were doing some work in Bangladesh, I believe. So could you tell us more about what led up to you starting the nonprofit?
Sure. So this nonprofit was started with zero plan.
Mm,
We were living in Bangladesh for my husband's position at the US Embassy. And I had a 5-year-old and a 3-year-old at the time. They were going to school. My husband was going to work, and I was in this developing country, culture shocked, and knew that whatever I did and however I wanted to spend my days, it needed to be pretty meaningful.
yeah.
Um, and to give you an idea of what it was like back then, just going on a walk. I mean, Dhaka, we were living in Dhaka, Bangladesh, and it's a mega city. It's super, super populated. Um,
Okay.
there's people everywhere. And among those people everywhere are children begging for food.
Mm,
And these were children in, dirty clothes, ripped clothes, clearly did not have a whole lot of money in their family, and definitely didn't have enough food because they were begging for it.
mm,
And a lot of times people would give money, but I never really felt comfortable with that. I would just take whatever child was begging to the market and have them pick out something.
yeah.
And I mean, most often it was like fruits, vegetables, like needed things. And candy bars and like sugary stuff were there, but they knew what they needed. They needed that nutrition. One little boy dragged me over to a packet of powdered milk and said he wanted powdered milk to share with his family.
Wow.
So I kind of felt this pull to figure out how to reach more kids and how to feed them, but I wasn't really sure how that was going to play out. I was a teacher.
Yeah.
I was a
Yeah,
teacher.
because I mean, as you mentioned, it's very populated, and then the need is so great. And um, like I said before, I'm just really touched and moved that you wanted to do something. But I'm sorry for interrupting. I just had to say
Not
that
interrupting at all.
I know that wasn't an easy undertaking.
No, and I didn't even know what the undertaking was at that point until we were asked, a couple of friends and I were asked to go visit a school in the slum neighborhoods of Dhaka. Um, and I thought, oh, let's go check out this school. Maybe I can teach there. But when we went there, I saw some of the same kids who were begging for food on the streets
Yeah,
when I was on my walks. So I felt like that had to be like some sort of sign from the universe. So
absolutely.
we asked the school like what they do to feed children, because we knew that these families were not getting enough food just based on the fact that these same kids were begging on the streets.
Mm.
And they said they only had enough money for one banana a week. So it's a school of 250
Wow.
kids. And I said, okay, well, we'll bring bananas. You bring them on Tuesdays and we'll bring them on Thursdays. And I had no
Mm.
idea, like I'd never bought a banana there in my life. And I didn't know how I was gonna, I didn't even know what 250 bananas looked like.
Right?
I never
I've never seen 250 bananas just there.
know. So I had this Bob jogging stroller with me, and I like rolled it to the market with Priscilla, another one of our co-founders, and we filled it with 250 bananas. I started
Wow.
posting pictures on Facebook, and people back home, my friends back home and family back home, wanted to donate. And so we quickly set up a blog spot, and that was like the cool thing at the time.
Okay, well, wait a minute. You said 250 bananas. So you're just rolling these
We are
250.
rolling,
Wow.
yes, 250 bananas. We shoved my Bob stroller, like the awning and like the thing
Oh,
underneath
wow.
where the kid
Mhm.
sits, where their feet, it was all full of bananas. And we're like,
I'm sure passersby probably were looking at you all like, what is going on? What are they doing?
oh my gosh, we had kids following us. They were like, "Where are all these bananas? We want a banana."
Wow.
So
Carry on, carry on. I'm sorry.
no. It was like it was a sight to be seen for sure. Um, and then people living in Dhaka is has a well had at the time a huge expat community that these people were solely there to help better the country.
Mm.
Um, so they were seeing what we were doing, and they were like, I got like some rice and I got some pumpkin soup. And so our first meal that we delivered was that banana. And
Mhm.
then every kid got this Ziploc bag of rice, a boiled
Wow.
egg, and some like pumpkin soup that some lady
They got a
donated.
full lunch.
They got a full lunch and they ate it so fast. I mean, much faster than my kids back at the apartment were eating any type of food. I mean, they were so thankful. I mean, it was silent in these
Mm.
classrooms when they were when we delivered this food. And so that was like the first day. And as we went on, we were probably like in the third week of school, the third week of deliveries. And we were delivering just like once a week at that time because we didn't have a whole lot of money because we were just scrapping everything together.
Yeah, and I was going to ask that, were people sending donations? Were people after they saw you just decided to, hey, I have this at home, I could cook up, or let me go and extra money that I use at the market, I'll donate to the kids. Like how did that
Yes.
go?
So people back home, I quickly, had set up that blog spot and got a PayPal account. And so that way people could send money from the US back home or from back home to Dhaka. And then people at the embassy and other expats from other
Mm.
countries wanted to jump in. And so they wanted to go see these neighborhoods and they wanted to help deliver the food and donate the food. And we hooked up with a school there. And so the school had a connection with with our school that we were delivering it to. So when you say like youth, youth have been I have a strong youth component. That youth component in Thrive has existed from the very beginning.
Okay,
In that
thanks for clarifying that.
it's so easy. Like I think it speaks to youth because I truly think youth want to give and they want to help, but they need pathways. They need to know how to do it. And food delivering school meals is like so easy to understand. Like kids are
Mm.
hungry, they need food. It's simple. It's the simplest
Plain
thing.
and simple.
Yes. And and so we've had that, involvement from youth from the very beginning. But I want to tell you the story of this little girl. So our third weekend,
Okay.
we had been giving like boiled eggs. We had consulted some nutritionists in the area and we figured that the best meal, the most nutrition for our buck would be a protein and some fruits and vegetables. So that's what we ended up doing. Fruits and vegetables and then a boiled egg. But the
Mm.
kids weren't eating these boiled eggs. And we were thinking like, how like the first set of boiled eggs, they were undone, that are unpeeled. But this set of boiled eggs, nobody was eating. We're like, do they not know what they are? Do they think it's raw? Like, is this
Mm.
not part of their, like, something that they're used to eating? And we asked a little girl why, and she says, I'm gonna take it home and share it with my family.
Oh,
Like a
wow.
simple boiled egg.
Wow.
It was at that moment
Mm.
where,
Just,
one, I realized this
mm.
wasn't just like a meal. I mean, this was like a lot to these kids. This was something so special. They wanted to share it with their family members. And also, this type of hunger wasn't a hunger I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah.
And I thought
I'm
of
almost about to cry.
it is, because then you not only like think of the kids wanting, like this little 5-year-old wanting to share her
With her
eggs
family.
with her family, but
Wow.
you think of like the moms. Like I was a mom at the time and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I don't like, how unfair is it that there are moms out there that can't provide food for their kids?
Yeah.
And so at that moment, we're like, okay, we're not stopping, but we had no idea how to not stop. We had no idea what our program
Hmm.
was gonna
Wow.
be like. So
Yeah.
that's how we got started. How we continued is a whole other story.
Right, right, and we'll dive into that in just a moment, about how you continue and why this work is so important. As you were stating that you had youth involved from the beginning, and I'm just curious about the evolution of um, you know getting the young people involved here. So did that start when you all returned to the States? How that started? It started when you were actually in, DACA?
Yeah, because
Wow.
I mean, we were so lucky to be able to share pictures on Facebook, and no one from
Mhm.
my hometown had really, I mean, none of my friends had ever experienced anything that we were experiencing.
Yeah.
And our kids were young. My mom friends had kids that were 3 and 5. So they were showing their kids these videos that I would
Mm.
send. And kids back in the US, we had a little 4-year-old boy right away. His name was Charlie. Start have a lemonade stand, and he gave all his profits to Thrive.
See, at 4 years old, I
4
mean,
years old. Because
probably
they get it.
preschool, kindergarten age, already wanting to get involved.
Because they get it.
It's like natural and innate for children, right?
Yes, because you teach children, help others, like help your sister, help your brother, help your mom. And so they get the whole idea of helping, so that when they see people in need, they are thinking, I can help them. And if you give them a way to do it, it's like the most beautiful thing, because it starts charitable work, and it
Yeah.
can start at such a young age.
Yeah. And, I find it fascinating. You mentioned um, this child was 4, the girl who wanted to save that egg for her family. She was 5. So, it's quite fascinating when I hear some adults, the way they speak about children, oh, children, or children, teens. Well, they're selfish or they're self-centered. I'm like, not no, there are so many young people who want to give back, who are giving back, and who are making a difference in their communities. And like, here's an example of them making a difference globally. They're not just concerned about what's going on in their world, but as you mentioned, they just need an avenue. They just need someone to show them, what the possibilities are for their giving. So I'm curious to learn about how young people, like the young people that I met at the event, how are they involved? And are these students that work or that are students at the school or students in the community? How do you recruit students to help?
So we've always had these like dreams of ours. There's like, we always have so many ideas and we want to get off the ground.
Hmm.
And one of the ideas was to have this youth council, since, like I said, youth have always been connected to Thrive.
Yeah.
So like 10 years later, we finally like are like putting some structure around it. And we have our first youth council. Most of the students are from Grosse Pointe South.
Awesome.
Um, and they meet once a month, and every meeting they learn about Thrive and like what's going on in the communities that we serve. And then they figure out some ways to fundraise. And so it's really like a learning slash fundraising club of sorts.
Okay.
But what's really cool about it is that it gives this global perspective that not a lot of organizations can give locally.
Yeah.
So that's like a little thing I like to tout to the kids. Like you're getting experience on the global level, which is
Global
what
level.
awesome
Yeah. And,
the
and for
world is.
those, yeah, and for those who are watching, because we do have people, throughout all over the world, not just across the US, but people globally who are watching, um, who may not know, I reside in Michigan. Grosse Pointe is in Michigan. So we're in Southeast Michigan, not too far from Detroit, to give folks a perspective. Like this is true international work that you're doing.
Yes, and we also have a youth council starting up in California in the Petaluma area. We have a student that
What?
reached out.
I didn't know that. That is awesome.
Yeah, I know it's super exciting. It's just getting off the ground. And one of our goals is to make these youth councils pop up all over the world.
I love that.
But right now we're just putting some structure around it so we can create
Mhm.
kind of like a kit for people who want to, run with it at their own school. And if anyone who's listening is interested in starting at your school, and we have got teachers that like to do this type of thing, kids that like to do this type of thing, it offers excellent leadership
I love that.
opportunities too.
Hmm.
That I would say reach out to me and I can help you get started.
Okay, great. So, I just wanted to go back to when you were talking about, being a mother and, just actually co-founding the organization with other parents who are concerned. Um, you know, how do you encourage your own children to get involved, and how also would you encourage others who may have children who um, are curious or seem like they want to get involved more in their communities?
In their own communities with Thrive or in their own
Yeah,
communities?
just
General
just in
volunteer.
general. Yeah,
Yeah,
just in
okay.
general,
Yeah,
getting involved in volunteerism,
yeah,
because some young people they can start, locally, and then
sure.
they can grow into nationally and even serving internationally. But some of the first steps to take, or even how you get your own children involved.
Yeah, well, so I think the first step you need to do is show your kids where the problems are. And you never want to be like so negative, like, look at that problem, look at that problem. But
Right.
you show them the problem and then you talk to them about solutions.
Yes.
So, and then you see what, and so the kids start learning like problems aren't just problems. There's always some sort of solution matched to a problem. And if there's not, you can create it. There's an opportunity for a solution. So, and the thing that I found too is that you really want to you want to find these problems that speak to the
I'm
kids.
literally writing that down. Um, when you said there's an opportunity for a solution. Okay.
Yes, there always is. And if you don't believe it, then there never will be. So yeah, the first step would be showing your kids or anyone in your life, like see where they're drawn. I mean, some kids are really drawn to animals. There's
Hmm.
so many opportunities and right now, I mean, with federal funding cuts, the need for volunteerism is so high. And
Absolutely.
to get these kids in at a young age, feeling good. I mean, and it not only like helps whoever's experiencing hard times, it also helps your child realize that they have the power to make a change.
Love
Um,
that.
and with us, it's one meal at a time. Each meal is 50 cents. So with us, it's like 50 cents gives one child one meal. $10 feeds a child school meals for a month. I mean, that's
Mhm.
like
Mm.
less than a pizza
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
a little bit more than a coffee. I don't know where you go.
Right. Wow. Yeah, thank you for that. That is very encouraging. And I know that, there are some teens who watch the Be Empowered interview series. So just know that you can make a difference. Your age, that doesn't matter. Young people have been making a difference and igniting movements in this country and around the world for centuries. So we know that if anyone can get it done, it's young people. And this is proof right here. So if there are people who want to support the work that you're doing, because it is definitely worthy of support. How can they reach out and connect? Where can they find you? And what are the top, I would say, 2 to 3 needs that you have right now?
Oh, okay. Well, we have a great website. It is thrive-global.org. So you can find out more information about the organization there, and there's some really great ways to give. And there's really great fundraising ideas, and you can even start a peer-to-peer fundraising page.
Oh, I love
Kind of
that.
like a GoFundMe, and that's what a lot of our youth do actually. They in our council, everybody has their own fundraising page. And so
Mhm.
then they use it to reach out to their friends and families to share our work and then ask for a donation. So I mean, and they do
Perfect.
a lot of great things with that. Um, okay, what were the other questions?
Yeah. So also, what are your top 2 to 3 needs that you
One,
have
two,
in the
three.
organization and how people can support that?
Well, we're in this growth stage. We are feeding 2,500 kids school meals every single day in Bangladesh and the Philippines.
Wow.
And we've just gotten a grant from a foundation
Oh,
that allows us to create shelf-stable meals, shelf-stable packets, really. And that will help us scale. Our goal is to reach 10,000 kids by 2028
okay.
and 30,000 kids by 2033.
Gotcha.
So with that growth stage, we need, um, we're actually looking for a lot of corporate sponsorships.
Okay.
Um, and we're looking for expertise. So like experts in the fields of fundraising and marketing, specifically to help us reach our goal of feeding 30,000 kids by 2033. That's like on the bigger end of giving.
Okay.
But where most of our donations come from individuals. We have
Mm.
about 80% of our donations come from individuals. So so that's like another great way to get involved is
Oh,
share Thrive with others, and you can become a monthly donor at $10 a month. So number one need, of course, money for any nonprofit.
of course.
Two, expertise. Those go hand in hand.
Mm.
We're working with a lot of experts from around the country right now that are getting involved. Um, and we just want to pool from information from all over to figure out the best way to move forward. So those are
Great.
our two things.
Okay, excellent, excellent. And I'll be sure to share some of that information in the description of this episode. But I just wanted to tell you that, I really admire you all for stepping up, for just realizing that each person can make a difference. Sometimes people get overwhelmed and think, what can one person do? But one becomes three, and three become 300, right? And so on and so forth. So kudos to you and your co-founders and the amazing youth that are making an impact with Thrive. Globally, as well as those who are getting involved locally. So I just wanted to say that I appreciate you, the work that you do, and it was so great to learn more. A few things that I actually didn't even know, even though I've heard the story, but I learned a couple things today. So this was very informative for me as well. So thank you so much, Gina, for being a
Oh,
part of the
thank
Be
you.
Empowered interview series.
It's an honor.
Yes, yes, yes. So again, everyone, if you want to support Thrive, you know what to do. They need the money. Show me the money, honey. Those corporate sponsorships, those donors, and sharing your expertise. So that concludes this episode of the Be Empowered interview series. If you know other change makers who we should feature, please let us know in the comments or reach out to Empowered Flower Girl. But that's all for now.